Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Last Minute Kickout with myself, Kevin, the mighty champion, John Turbo Finley. And he's back and better than ever. Face the facts, because his opinion does matter, which is why we wanted him back on the show. Mr. Pete Timescreen Nevercut, ladies and gentlemen, leader of the Dark Order in absentia. And how you been doing, Pete?
Unfortunately, my gold doesn't seem to be here because somebody stole it while I was away.
Technically, both of us stole it.
I mean,
Technically, we both had it at one point.
literally smashed me in the back of the head, took my title and ran away. I was just out for months.
Yeah, sorry.
been in a
Pete.
coma.
We had to pilgrimise you, for this whole, endeavor of you holding that championship.
We did it for LMKO. We did it for the people. We also did it for us. Because it was about bloody time somebody else had it.
I mean, if you're not gonna beat the man,
We did beat you with a suitcase.
We did, technically, yeah.
Anyway, Pete's back, and we're very glad that he is back to the free bearded ones. So, we are going to talk about Hell in a Cell. I kind of missed that delivery, I've got to be honest.
I mean, granted, you don't really have anyone on commentary or in the roster that has the grovel to kind of like give that delivery anymore.
that's the spin of Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Pete. Well, there was a pre-show, wasn't there?
There was, but I didn't watch it.
Did you watch it, Turbo?
No.
No, neither did I. I found out who was on it, what was going on. I just had interest evaporated out.
It was R-Truth versus Drew Gulak for the 24/7 championship, which clearly meant nothing considering they had shenanigans throughout the entire night anyway.
Yeah, it's like, R-Truth might lose the championship. Well, he's going to get it back by the night's end, probably. So what's the point in even watching it?
I hate that. I hate that. That like the whole stuff between R-Truth and Gulak. Yeah, ever since.
I mean, do you hate it? Do you hate it just because R-Truth is like the new Crash Holly, except with more personality?
No, I hate it because it's just
Do you hate it for the lack of hardcore weapon?
No, I just hate it because it's not fun. Like back in the day when it was Crash Holly doing the whole hardcore 24/7 kind of like thing, they were all over the place. They were at bloomin' fun house areas like child's play.
The airport kids playground is clearly not going to be doable.
Yeah, of course it's not going to happen now.
But I think the problem was that at the beginning it was fun. It was this fun diversion, and WWE being WWE, they kind of overdid it.
I think the only reason R-Truth is still fucking around with that title is because he's clearly the most entertaining person on a microphone at any given moment.
As we know from the various documentaries, Vince loves R-Truth. Vince is cracked up whenever R-Truth is on a mic. There's video of them doing a promo class and Vince going in and reaching out to R-Truth specifically to do something, and R-Truth basically just comes on the mic and is R-Truth in character and having absolutely no clue what's going on and talking to Vince like he's somebody else.
The big thing about that is that R-Truth's humor is global and not just to Vince. A lot of Vince's humor normally only hits on a Vince button, you know. Mm-hmm. So I've got no problem with R-Truth. Yeah, the comedy can get a bit stale, like the shoehorning of Akira Tozawa with
ninjas.
That's
what we need. The Japanese guy, so we must have ninjas.
Do you know what? Him and Drew Gulak have clearly got some comedy, like clicking humor that's going on. I'm all for it. You know, it's not offensive. It doesn't get in the way. You know, and they're just they're having a laugh clearly. So why can't we just enjoy it for what it is?
Indeed,
it's no worse than watching Briscoe and Patterson in dresses going for a hardcore championship.
No, it's less worse than Briscoe.
If you enjoyed Briscoe and Patterson interested in going for a hardcore championship, I don't know why you can't enjoy this.
I didn't.
Did anybody enjoy
the day?
I'm sure there are some people who pine for the old days who did enjoy it.
Oh, there's various people who pine for the old days. Anyway, luckily we can sit back and enjoy it, and if you put it on a separate program, it means we don't have to watch it. So we go into.
I mean, let's be fair. If there's going to be a match on the pre-show, I'd rather it be this rather than anything.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, because surprisingly, the show as a whole was actually not bad compared to other years.
Well, they had a
Or am I
flow
just,
in this. They had a flow in this one.
I think that's a matter of opinion, John. I don't think somebody liked it very well, judging from the kind of gruff huffing and puffing I've heard.
Fine.
Anyway, we start with the match, which has a weird personality problem. An I Quit match in a Hell in a Cell, which then turned into a strap match for some reason, which then went back into a Hell in a Cell match.
I'm more surprised that this was on first.
I was too. I thought this was gonna be at least like main event or like second to last.
Judging from what we actually had as the main event, I wish it was the main event.
Easy to.
This had a better story to tell. SmackDown has got these stories to tell, and this is by far the thing that I was, out of every match on the card, with the exception of, I think, maybe the Miz and Otis, it's the thing I was most invested in, being like Roman, and that's really, like, we are in the Roman Reigns renaissance right now. Like, he's come back. He's finally got that heel turn everybody's asked for. The story between him and the Usos is fucking it's delicious. It's done well. Heyman obviously has his claws in for the story direction for this, and that's why it's not garbage. Reigns is good on the mic.
I know. Say that to someone 5 years ago, and then they would go,
Reigns is showing emotion. And, you know, the entire family's involved, which we see later on in the match anyway. And the Usos, we know, are very good at showing emotion and doing well what they're doing anyway. Like, this... I don't know why this was on first, honestly. But there we go. I enjoyed this match. I thought it was good. I think there was a small, like, what the fuck is going on, really slow moment towards the end of it. But I think it got pulled around, and I think the ending of the match was really good.
I mean, there was like coming close to the end of the thing, and it's like Roman was going a little slow, and it was featured on WrestleMania, him trying to get those steel stairs over the top rope for no reason because they weren't factored into the match afterwards. I don't think, but. Yeah, it's like, other than that, the story that was told during the match and whatnot worked because you had Us, working on Roman, and he was just like going at it, he was just smack talking. That was what was working a lot in both the prior match before this and this match is the interaction between Uso from Jay and even Jimmy when he gets into the match as well. Is the dialogue being spoken, because if this was like full crowd and whatnot, you wouldn't be able to hear it that well, but because we're in this era and whatnot, it's obviously much more effective without a crowd there to drown out the kind of like
it goes back to that Heyman ECW mentality of hide negatives, accentuate the positives, and if you've got that opportunity to do that, go there, utilize it. But you're quite right, John. As we said in the last time around, the strength in this is, and as you said, Pete, as well, the strength is the story. The match itself, frankly, not much to write home about.
No, because
it was 100% story,
the Usos
and from that point of view,
have been in better matches.
From that point of view, it was great, and there was loads of other little touches as well, like the lays that they wore were done by the members of the WWE team who are of Samoan descent in some way. So Tamina did them, and Nia Jax did them, and others. That's in terms of the backstory of those. Even before Aka and Sifa came out at the end. Yeah, really good, really good. Roman Reigns being able to show personality, being able to show that coolness, and still, kind of being torn about what's he gonna do, and just being an absolute badass. We've said, everyone has said all along, Roman Reigns could be a badass, but for some reason he was just so scripted that you lost him in it.
Yeah. But now that ending was also really effective, of like just getting Jay into the submission and getting Jimmy to.
I was watching a lot of thoughts on this match around the internet, and the one thing that stuck in my mind that was the biggest thing to put is that obviously people have theorized about like the bloodline like for a long time. And the one thing that I mentioned somebody say is that if like Jamal and Rosie, like Reigns' brother and cousin, if they were still around and in the business today, like how different would this look? I think
they would have probably been the pack that Roman would have kind of like formed, and the Usos would be trying to be the rival faction of the family to try to be the kind of like family feuds between two factions and whatnot. If there was like another Samoan dynasty member that would have been a solo star to go with the Usos, that would have been the great kind of like dynamic.
You can see Tamina getting added. Because
absolutely.
Like, there's lots of ways you can do. There's what's going to happen with Naomi. I mean, she's on a different brand entirely, which by the way is kind of odd because that goes against the whole splitting up of the couples that WWE is normally.
I think them having a female member would be good down the line, because I can see this, and I know I harp on about it every time that there's a big power faction, but I can honestly see a power trip, like the Usos, like once they're both in of the bloodline, like whatever they're going to call this faction, they get the tag belts.
I was going to say, do you think it'll be the same as Undisputed Era in NXT?
Yeah, maybe. Like having a female member with the belt as well, having the backing of that, hell, if that means that Tamina gets accompanied by Paul Heyman and Paul Heyman gets the ability to work with Tamina, it might get her into a position where she's looked on a bit better favorably by the crowd, by the audience, by people backstage and everything else. Having Heyman as part of that entire kind of storyline and having the fingers in many pies opens up so many avenues for whoever's going to work as part of that faction, and having Tamina as the female part of that stable, I can't see anything that's going to go awry with that, really.
You could, I know obviously Nia's with Shayna at the minute, but you could have Nia team with Tamina and then them go and take over the women's tag, and then that comes that way. There's also Joe, the Samoan not of the bloodline, who is in there and is a factor. And you could imagine if Joe has something to say, that Roman would take offense, and then we get Joe versus Roman, which I'd be quite interested in.
Only problem
I would be interested in that, but I think you got to think long term with this sort of thing. Roman's going to hold that belt until at least WrestleMania.
At least.
And who's going to be the kind of person that you're going to want to take the belt off of him? Like Samoa Joe in a storyline, if he gets medically cleared, Samoa Joe to take that belt could be amazing.
Well, at the moment he's on the opposite brand. He's not on the same.
Yeah, but he's only in a commentary position. The minute he gets cleared, he can go anywhere.
Fair dues.
And all it has to be is on him to say a couple of bits on the cross promo, pay-per-views, the proper cross promo. All he has to do is say something in there to start something up, and then they could just do it over.
Look, the only thing I ask for is that they keep Rollins as far away from that belt as possible. As far as the last thing I want. The last thing I want to see him add to the fucking list of his names is the Samoan Slayer.
He hasn't had a new nickname in at least 3 minutes. We need to.
Slayer, Beast Slayer, Samoan Slayer.
Christ, just get the Doom Slayer and just slice
the Doom Slayer.
He-Man!
He-Man Slayer!
Ah!
Burn it down!
Indeed.
Oh God.
But yeah, I think it's a bit of a mixed bag. You'll either love that match or you'll hate it. But I think the general thing is that we're in it for Das story.
Yeah. Actually, before we leave this, Heyman in this being horrified.
Have you seen Heyman in any Roman Reigns match? He's all. If you look at him,
but he's getting worse and worse. And Heyman asking Roman to stop, and Roman like really like putting the bad mouth on Heyman and like threatening Heyman.
Yeah, because normally Heyman's usually in control of the client that he has, but not this time around.
Yeah,
They
they were throwing out the real names as well. They were throwing out the real names as they were doing that as well, which is a lovely little touch. And yeah, Heyman was just begging them to stop at one point.
Yeah, like you don't hear Heyman very vocal during most of Roman's matches. Though.
No,
he's always horrified. He always looks horrified at what's going on.
Yeah, and even at the end when he demanded the belt like from Heyman off screen, he wasn't even looking at Roman. He just demanded, and Heyman just ran in and quickly gave it to him and like got away, just in case Roman did something to him. What has he done? What has Paul Heyman done?
Paul Heyman didn't do anything. Roman wanted this. Roman went to Paul, remember?
Indeed. Or did he?
What's the next match?
Next match is your number one album selling non-champion Elias versus Jeff, the only Hardy ever Hardy. Jeffrey Hardy in a WCW match. El Kabongo.
This is by disqualification as well. Wasn't
Yeah.
it?
Disqualification.
Like this has been incredibly forgettable. It's a rushed match. It had. You would have thought that with Elias returning, Elias actually, his music's selling on iTunes.
It's good,
well, apparently. Have you listened to it?
I've listened to some tracks on YouTube. It's good. I like. Well done, mate.
You like this, but you didn't like the Miz.
No, I like Elias's album.
I
like Elias's album. This match was.
This match was dog shit.
The most notable thing was that Elias actually got a promo in without being cut off because it was a pay-per-view.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this wasn't brilliant.
No, it wasn't. It was. I switched off from that match. I just did not care, and the build is just all over the place. It's like it was the build is like 3 months too late because the whole thing was Elias going after Hardy because he ran me over with the car, even though it wasn't him, it was Sheamus.
But never mind mere details like that. He's back for revenge, a revenge that you didn't realize he needed and didn't care about.
Sheamus did it for The Rock. He did it for the people. He did it for you.
For you.
And you.
Did he now?
He did it for The Rock, who will be beaten by Roman Reigns at WrestleMania.
Allegedly.
Gonna happen. Get in line. Get at the bottom of the table, Dwayne.
Let's move away from that mess and move on to the next match.
Anyway, Jeff Hardy stole the guitar and El Kabongo. Boom. Done.
Yeah. Which would lead to a very terrible guitar on a pole match on the following.
Yeah.
You're on a pole. And you're on a pole.
You're
on a pole. And why not stick all of Elias's band members on a pole? It's fine.
Beatles on a pole match. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Whoever rescues the most...
four corners match where there's a musical instrument on every pole.
Oh God, please no.
It's just all the members of Peroxygen around the Shannon Moore, come get a paycheck. Oh dear. But yeah, that was a thing. We then move on to Money in the Bank match.
Oh no, wait.
Money in the Bank match next.
Yeah.
After Wrestlers Court, the drama.
Look, all I'm gonna say is I'm glad the Money in the Bank briefcase has finally been used in some fashion, and I'm glad it's on The Miz. Please, I've been asking for it since we fucking started this podcast. Give The Miz the belt. Give The Miz the belt.
The thing is, they've given him it now. At the point he's weakest. He's been the weakest he's been in like 5 years.
He's at his weakest again. It's not working again.
And as we know, you get the Money in the Bank briefcase and you're a heel. Congratulations. You're never winning a match again until you bloody cash it in.
I don't think it's the fact that he's the weakest. I think his promo work is still just as strong as it was since Morrison has been there. The problem is that who do you use it on? Do you use it on Roman Reigns? Do you fuck? Do you use it on Randy Orton, who Drew McIntyre is ready to kick the head off of anybody who gets in the way? No, like he's got to use it between now and just after WrestleMania.
Well, the problem is that its contract is not. It doesn't refresh if it changes hands. It's going to run out.
The time's still the same.
He has to use it just after WrestleMania.
So I like the idea of him holding off to Mania, and then being forced to cash it in because otherwise it's going to time out. I like that.
I really hope that he uses it at WrestleMania. I really
That'd
do.
be lovely.
To do another to take over. I'm sorry.
Rock beats Roman. Miz comes in, gets revenge on Rock.
I'd love it.
Yes! Yes!
Can you imagine the Miz pinning the Rock?
Yes!
Amazing.
That would be amazing. Gets his revenge for his last WrestleMania. And the Rock stealing it. That would be wonderful. Make this happen. The Miz becomes the head of the table. By default.
It'll be something. Long-term booking. Or booking to hark back.
He came to play the role.
I just like the idea of a hard-fought match between The Rock and Roman Reigns. The Rock bottom after all of this stuff. 1, 2, 3. Very exhausted. We hear The Rock's theme music, and then all of a sudden,
that
came to play.
No, not even that. Goes up like that. Boom!
Kabam.
Skull crashing finale out of that.
It wouldn't be.
Perfect.
It wouldn't even be that. It would be the briefcase hit first. The Rock would stumble in. The Rock would stumble into the turnbuckle. Come back in, and then get face planted.
Yeah.
Nice. This is a better Mania than we've had for ages already. But anyway, so we had this
booking.
We had this match because JBL, because he's the judge of Wrestlers Court, everybody, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, said that The Miz could. I was kind of disappointed that The Miz didn't bribe JBL with some whiskey or something beforehand.
Oh, he just bribed him.
Yeah, but it needed to be whiskey specifically. And then one bottle which just says Taker on it, just pass it off. That's all we needed to do. But actually, this is a heel turn that made sense. I thought.
Yeah, it was expected. It's just it just could have been better. The match itself could have been better.
But he's Tucker's right and Tucker's justified because Tucker's basically just been left at the side for his entire Mandy Rose Money in the Bank storyline. Tucker's just been left and ignored. So quite right, and he's on a separate brand now. So who cares? They'll get a little match together at Mania. They'll get a match together at pre-show. Pre-show, day one. And they'll settle it like men who are heavy and machinery.
Are they men in tights?
But delightful, as after our chat last time round, John, about tag teams.
Yeah.
And WWE's need for tag teams, they take an established tag team and break them up because they're WWE.
Yep.
But did you come to play?
If it means The Miz gets some joy on this entire situation.
Give the Miz
Good.
The belt. Give the Miz the belt.
As he pointed out, it's like 10 years since he cashed in on Orton, so we had that tease for Raw, which was good. I like the fact that we got that tease. And we'll continue on from there, really.
Give the Miz the belt.
But give the Miz the belt. Definitely give the Miz the belt.
Yeah,
even if it's a transitional one. That's the great thing about Miz. You can can use him however because he's the Miz.
No, give the Miz the belt.
But give him the belt. Give him the belt. Give him at least.
Give the Miz the belt. Make him the guy that breaks CM Punk's record. Done. Because you know damn well that they'd be petty enough to do that. CM Punk was the greatest wrestler in the world. He held the belt for this long. Nah, mate. The Miz. The Miz.
Miz is all the way. No, but I'm still astonished they've not got Miz back into the Intercontinental title picture so they could take the record away from Jericho.
That's true, actually.
I'm astounded they've not done that.
I mean, it's going to be a while yet, really. Let's be fair, isn't it?
Well, at the moment, he's not on the same brand for that belt, so...
As I said, that's why it's going to be a little while yet. But it's fine. Miz will continue his tradition of swapping brand every time there's a brand
freaking time. Every time.
Sorry, he'll be back in
Without fail. Anyway, Hell in a Cell match number 2, and the first Hell in a Cell match, which is officially a Hell in a Cell match. The WWE SmackDown Women's Title match between Sasha Banks and the champion forced into competing, Bayley.
This was so garbage.
Everything went wrong.
This was just so bad. There were some lovely callbacks to their takeover match, but just in the term of the grand scheme of things, like they should have just held off on this. This is clear WWE trying to cash in on a long pay feud when they could have just held it off for another couple of months for WrestleMania.
Yeah, I have no idea why they did this. It seemed utterly pointless. We also went from Bayley actually being this fantastic dominating heel who was cowardly but at the same time was smart and everything to Bayley who was just and it's just like, why have you done this? Why have you rushed this? This was the best build that we had going. And it was long and it was slow and it was a fantastic story. Why is Sasha the first chance she got to get the thing succeeded? It needs to be
it's actually her second chance.
Well, so what? Who cares? Make a fight. Make it go all the way back. Have us be sent off to the other. Have us sent off to Raw. Get her away. Get Bayley to pull some strings. It's a feud that deserves a Mania moment. It deserves Sasha winning over Bayley. That was never in question, but it needs to be done at Mania so it could have the proper one. And then you've got the proper full circle between NXT TakeOver and then Mania with the two of them. Full story, Nice wrap up. Maybe Bayley learns the error of her ways and there's a reconciliation, and maybe then there's a lovely Jericho Christian moment. And Bayley just stuff in a one. I'm sure Ashley was really happy, but unfortunately, no. Also, it turns out that duct tape is fantastic for keeping wrestlers down and stopping them from climbing ladders and things. It's not particularly good for tying kendo sticks together.
Sadly, no. It's like the Minecraft. He didn't have
a crafting tape. You're quite right. He didn't have a crafting. Well, they just couldn't even find the end of the tape.
Yeah, it was very odd. Can you help me with this? But no, I mean, granted, you guys didn't like this match. I actually thought this was actually all right, bar the bits that were kind of like bogging it down, like the tape spot, like the, a couple of notable kind of like moments. But there were other really good kind of like spots that happened during the match, like the Meteora into the cage multiple times.
The run up the table Meteora.
Yes,
was
and
great.
It's like spot does not make a good match.
Precisely.
What makes a good match? You gotta remember, this is 30 minutes of people's time you're asking for, and a couple of spots in 30 minutes does not make up for the overall disparity of it, and the fact that this story could have been told later. Like the fact it's been told now, for the sheer fact that we have these gimmick match pay-per-views, is completely irrelevant.
I liked the finish. I did really like the finish and the viciousness of the finish. But again, how more satisfying would that have been elsewhere? You could even put them in Hell in a Cell at Mania.
Or Street Fight.
Or do something.
Or an Iron Woman match.
Yes. Those two could do it.
Oh, well, they have.
Yeah, but you then do that. You then do that to then continue the story and the parallels. But yeah, the best bit of this match was before the match in the video package, where we had where they had the various things, and then they had Michael Cole running down Bayley's achievements, and then they spliced in the bit where Bayley just goes over to the table and yells, "Shut up, Michael!" and Bayley ends up cutting off her own boost in the promo, and it was so funny.
It's always been the running gag with herself and Cole. Like,
I know, but the fact that they spliced that into the video package and made it a thing in that, wonderful, loved it.
But no, I mean, granted, I think obviously I enjoyed this match more than you guys did, and you guys obviously wanted this match to be a Mania match. You know, it's like where WWE wanted to get this done and whatnot. I was a bit more forgiving for this happening at Hell in a Cell, because I felt though this feud could have ended in the Cell quite well. And granted, for some people it could have felt rushed and whatnot, but really this has been a feud that's been bubbling for months and months and months, really. Like even last year,
and they just rushed straight into
it. And that's the thing. That's the thing that I think me and Pete are. It's what this match is. It's not about not so much what this match was, but what it could have been and what it should have been.
The only reason why they rushed this is to promote Sasha as a champion, to hype up the new season of Mandalorian.
Yeah, but that's all well and good.
Star Wars,
but there are still better ways to do that, and you can have Sasha doing other things. Like, look at the way they've done it. They've broken them up. Sasha's gone out with serious injuries to come back, lose a title
that's
match
typical though.
John Cena recovery. By the way,
she's lost a title match by disqualification, and then she's gone into a match type which is essentially a blood feud ender.
It is not, though. It is not over. It is. I'm glad to say it is not.
Nothing is over.
It didn't have to be a Hell in a Cell match just because it was at Hell in a Cell. They could have done anything. They could have literally.
But that's the problem with Hell in a Cell as a pay-per-view, is that you have to have a Hell in a Cell match. At least 3 of them.
It would have played more into Bayley's character for her to actually succeed in getting the match out of Hell in a Cell, but still having the match. Anyway, this by the way, I know while we're especially disagreeing on matters here, this was fucking Picasso compared to what we had afterwards. Ladies and gentlemen, the WWE United States title match between Bobby Lashley and Slapjack of Retribution. That face, John, exactly that face.
What? No, you know what needs to get entered here. It's the Monty Python, the Holy Grail, where he just turns around and he goes, "You make me sad."
You make me sad. Bobby Lashley comes out, does it. Slapjack comes out and does his bit. This was 3 minutes 51 seconds according to Cage Match. 3 minutes 51 seconds. Felt like the entirety of 2020. Poor Mustafa Ali. First of all,
yeah, I totally agree. Totally screws up his kind of like storyline he had on SmackDown, a bit of him being the hacker, which they outed during his opening promo.
They've tried to tie it together.
Just like
they've tried.
Show on any.
It's like a small child with the shaped blocks trying to put them in. Just bits of storyline. Retribution. If they weren't dead in the water,
is a mystery. Weird names that no one sees.
and
got a
people
bunch
having
of
seizures and people doing all sorts. If you ever had any doubt that Retribution was dead in the water before it even began, I signpost you to this match.
I feel
good old
like
slapjack.
I feel like once they get away from the Hurt business, I feel like they'll probably do better. But
No.
this feels like they've tried to go, we're gonna redo the Nexus, guys. Yeah. We're gonna redo it, and we shot ourselves in the foot already.
The logical holes in the entire thing of we're here, we're anti-WWE, so where we're going to take WWE down is to sign contracts with the WWE, and they're going to tell us WWE have told us they.
It turns out them paying us in contracts was a lot cheaper than us
Yes,
destroying the rings every week.
we have spoken to our financial advisor in Retribution, and they have informed us that this is much wiser course of action, especially in the current fiscal year. We've got that. The entire thing. I love the fact, by the way, that there's people that we ignore everything WWE says. WWE says you've got to stay home because of COVID. They can't turn up for 2 weeks, which of course no, they shouldn't. But in storyline, it's just like they're just going, yeah. It's just really fucking dumb. The match was what you expect. I quite like the Hurt Business in a strange way, but these are two groups that are not going to benefit from each other.
No,
nothing's gonna help Retribution in the slightest, apart from maybe taking them round behind the back of the barn and putting them out in the misery.
Tell you what, I absolutely got something out of this match. I got 3 minutes and 50 seconds to go take a piss and get it in.
Bathroom break.
Yeah.
Bathroom break.
Yeah, that we haven't had many of those in quite a while, but that was definitely.
I mean, you still have to get a move on at 3 minutes 51, frankly.
That's not including the entrances.
Hey, consider that the smallest of palate cleansers between the two Hell in a Cell proper matches. Bobby Lashley remained champ to the surprise of nobody on this one, by the way, guys.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let Kev introduce the match.
Oh, this is all you in terms of description.
And then we're gonna hard cut to Angry Man to discuss about the Scottish man losing a belt.
In fairness, before we begin, me and John have been talking about this in your absence, and it's always been a case of when. Mm-hmm. Was this the right time? I will let Turbo decide. But the WWE title, Hell in a Cell, everybody. Drew McIntyre finally, in much like a CM Punk type way, gets to defend his belt in the main event at last against Randy Orton, who for some reason just won't go away. And it was 30 minutes and 33 seconds long.
Was the ambulance match not the end of the card?
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. He hadn't defended it main event.
I felt like the ambulance match was the end of the card.
Nope.
No, there was another one after it.
It was the Universal title.
Yep, Universal title after. But yes, so Randy Orton defeats Drew McIntyre. Turbo, it's over to you.
Not only does he defeat Drew McIntyre, he becomes tied with Triple H for the most amount of championships in the WWE World Championship.
You know what this? We're just gonna get Triple H back as champion now.
Yep. Triple H has got
14 World Championships now, joint second.
Right. We all know there was going to be a point that McIntyre was going to lose the belt to Orton. We knew because McMahon has more faith in Orton Edge than he does in McIntyre at the moment, because McIntyre, as we said all the way back in WrestleMania, didn't have the crowd behind him, and unfortunately, McIntyre deserved that crowd reaction when he got the belt, which is what we said all the way back when.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like because there's been no crowd reaction, no visible audible reaction other than piped in WWE 2K video game sounds, that is why he's made the decision. And now we have Orton as world champion until WrestleMania, where he's going to go against Edge, who will return for the Royal Rumble and win the Royal Rumble and go, Orton, I'm coming for you, son.
There's another alternative for you, by the way. If Edge wins at Mania,
can you imagine?
Miz takes Edge with Orton's assistance.
That'd be fucking amazing. Taking out the ultimate opportunist.
Ultimate opportunist, yeah, gets taken out.
That'd be amazing.
But yeah, match.
I'm gonna take these off. I'm gonna let John go.
Floor's yours.
Actually, I thought this was good enough for them to finally finish this off.
Really wasn't. It was garbage. The match was garbage.
Well, here's the thing. Really, in all honesty, it should have been the ambulance match to end the feud, and he would have lost the title then. Here in Hell in a Cell, I knew he was go. Look, here's the thing. Both me and Kev, we said that he should have lost it at in the ambulance match, and it's good that he's lost it now, because he has been strong for the last 6 months.
I think
with the title.
I think the biggest thing here is how they're now doing Survivor Series, where they've made Survivor Series the new Clash of Champions thing, where it's a brand face-off, and you want Roman Reigns to look good, but you also want Drew McIntyre to look good.
So
take both as champions. So if you take the belt off McIntyre, at least you can have Orton go under. You know, and have Reigns go over on Orton.
No, I understand that. Yeah.
Because who would you want to win in Reigns versus McIntyre?
McIntyre.
Really?
Yeah.
My money would be on Reigns, because I'm more invested in the Reigns storyline at the moment.
Well, at the moment, it's like McIntyre. Here's the thing with the marketing and whatnot. They still, like, I see it on YouTube all the time. It's like they still have the advertisements of McIntyre selling those slam attack. App.
But that's just
they've shown,
and they've gone with the title belt, and
they've definitely shown faith with McIntyre through this, and they believe that McIntyre is one of the people that can be at that level for some time.
I get it. Yeah. I feel like I agree with you. I think I would be less annoyed at the outcome of this match if this was a rematch and then McIntyre lost, than just McIntyre losing the way he did in this match.
It felt very, as we know, it felt very long. Mm-hmm. Even for Orton, it felt very long indeed.
Well, granted, it would end up for them being up on the top of the cell. Because we need to have a point where they get up the cell.
Talk about how clumsy that looked? Them just fighting on the cell and then going down the other side just for the table bump.
I love the idea. I love the idea of Orton having a disguised pipe up there. I actually really like that idea, because Orton's a smart guy. He's a smart wrestler. Orton is not dumb. Orton's character is not dumb. Stupid sometimes, but in terms of actual planning, he's very cerebral. So that made sense.
It just felt clumsy. That's all I'm saying. Like escaping one side to go up it and then down the other side. Like it almost feels like they should have. Like it's not like they're in a fixed arena. They have the opportunity to set this up the way they want to. Why couldn't they have had the cell back a bit with the announce table on, like the side where they come down, You know, that would have made more sense instead of looking so clumsy to go up, over, to go back down the other side, for then McIntyre to go through the table, for then Orton to drag him round the thing to get him back into the ring again.
Yeah, some forethought would have been good there.
It's just clumsy. That's all I'm saying.
I love McIntyre doing the bad blood spot just because he loved it.
Yeah.
But
it's I also don't like the way that the camera work is getting really shoddy.
It wasn't good that match, was it? No.
When they're cutting to McIntyre and they're just fighting, and they're obviously looking to see how far down they are for the spot. That's where the camera work becomes clumsy, you know? It's also good. Like, the reason that the Mankind spot worked when he got thrown off the cage through the table is because nobody expected it. You know? When Mick Foley went through the cell versus Triple H, no one expected it. You know, you just expect a back body drop for him to just bounce on it. When Rikishi got pushed off the cell in the Armageddon Hell in a Cell, we expected it. You know, when Vince drove that truck in, you knew someone was going off it.
He wasn't pushed. He was choke slammed.
He was pushed.
He was there was a full millimeter off the ground.
I mean, at least with other Hell in the Cell type matches where, like, Shane's going through the table, it's because someone's been moved off the table, you know? So the table's going to break regardless. You know someone's going to go through it. But it's more they've moved out the way and he's taken the solo bump regardless, rather than peering over your shoulder to make sure you're in the right spot to jump. It feels sloppy camera work because they could have cut away from that sort of thing. Because there's still like a 5 second
it's been odd because again, harking back to what we said before about what me and Turbo previously discussed, the last few WWE pay-per-views, camera work's actually really good.
At points.
At point, but it's been a lot downslide better in terms of getting emotions and everything, and specific action shots.
I think it just comes with the problem of being Hell in the Cell.
Yeah. It becomes. I mean, spots. We know spots are set up and contrived, and ladder matches are the most obvious ones of these, and it's just more obvious, isn't it? When it's Hell in a Cell, just because it's like, okay, well, where are they going from here? Well, there's like 2 ways, and the camera's there, so they're going that way.
It just could have been better.
Yeah.
What do you think needs to happen now, Turbo, with the character? Because the problem I have with McIntyre's character now is that they've started to slip back into this weird thing where he's an angry Scotsman.
So Drew is going to be the reason Orton loses at Survivor Series versus Reigns. I'll tell you that now.
Should be.
Because, there's going to be that. There'll be some sort of cash-in attempt by The Miz at Survivor Series
and
as
stopped.
well.
Or tease, at least, yeah.
It needs to be stopped again.
What is the pay-per-view card? What's the pay-per-view listed? So we've got Survivor Series next, and apparently there's NXT Takeover, which won't see anything after that. But after
NXT
Survivor
Takeover,
Series,
WCW pay-per-view name. Slamboree! They got it back. They get Slamboree back. Let's go to Slamboree.
No, AEW has that.
No, not anymore.
Are they?
No.
Yeah, no, they dropped the thing.
WWE dropped the Rhodes trademark, Cody Rhodes trademark, and Cody in return dropped Match Beyond and Slamboree. So a deal's been done. So Cody's Cody Rhodes again, officially, and then WWE will get Match Beyond and what have you.
But sadly, not on AEW. It's only for other media. But
no.
Anyway.
So
no,
after Survivor Series, there's going to be obviously the Starrcade house show. So I don't think anything's really.
No,
there's no
nothing's
title change.
That's going to be trash because they've yet to do one that's good.
Yeah, I don't think that it's probably not going to happen. Starrcade. If anything, it will just be a televised, like a network special show, maybe.
It'll have like an hour to it.
How many times can Robert Stone get run over with a tank?
TLC is the next big pay-per-view.
Oh dear.
Which means that it'll be a TLC / ladder match that Orton will be in.
I'd be more inclined to say it would be the chairs match, actually.
Maybe, which means that McIntyre, it might just end up being a triple threat match, I imagine.
It's one of those things. It's not going to be a TLC because Drew's a tall bastard and Orton's not going to allow that.
Yeah, maybe. or a tables match.
I mean,
I think it's just the way it's. I think one thing definitely for sure is it's going to be Lana versus Nia Jax at a tables match at TLC.
Of course, yeah.
So I don't think the Orton will be in a tables match. So
That whole situation is pure WWE logic. We'll get Lana over by shoving her through a table every single week. No, you're making Nia more popular.
So yeah, I mean the only schedule of events I see is like the TLC isn't until December 20th either. So we got like a month and a half if Starrcade's not happening. So I imagine Starrcade will happen, but it'll be a network like pay-per-view special of just a small amount of matches where no belts will change hands anyway. We'll have TLC, which will be probably a chairs match, maybe a triple threat between all three of them. But then it will lead into Royal Rumble, where it'll be, I guess it'll be McIntyre's last chance or something. Like if McIntyre loses, Orton doesn't want anything more of him. Edge wins the Rumble, and then we just lead into Edge. Having
Edgemania is running wild.
Yeah, and then obviously there's the Elimination Chamber before then, but anything could happen. Who knows? But we're into this point, and I said this a while ago that the biggest problem that WWE has in terms of its champion situation is that they always seem to have singular opponents. There doesn't seem to be multiple people that want to go for the belt at any given time, which was one of the high points of the Attitude Era when Angle had the belt. Everyone was gunning for Angle, which led to the Armageddon Hell in a Cell. Now we have a situation where McIntyre's pissed and Miz wants the thing, and even if Orton's not gonna value that, he's got the Money in the Bank, and then the Fiend is there at every opportunity as well. And Raw is becoming relatively exciting to see what's gonna happen, but Orton's not really playing scared. He's just like, oh, where's the Fiend? The Fiend's here, isn't he? And then Drew McIntyre appears, and then Miz tries to be a weasel. But it's like semi-exciting that everybody's trying to play like, look, it's my turn with the belt. Give me the belt. I want the match,
There is that added thing of the secondary players in that, if you like, in terms of the Miz and the Fiend, have a thing. There's still in terms of long-term storyline, we still have that Miz Fiend thing with the Fiend threatening Monroe Sky, and yeah, the Miz does not like the Fiend in any way, and is kind of, even though he's a heel, and the Fiend's pseudo face.
Oh no, he's a babyface now. Like WWE,
but it's still, hey, this guy threatened my daughter.
Yeah.
In my home, so there's stuff they can play off there. Maybe
they won't. This happened ages ago, Kev. No one remembers WWE programming from
unless you're Xavier Woods, no one remembers previous stuff.
But yeah, that was Hell in a Cell. General marks, boys. Out of 10, John.
Oh yeah, put me first. Fine.
Someone has to.
I know you guys didn't like it as much as I did, because there were a couple of matches that I did actually enjoy, kind of like watching during this, and I actually did think this was slightly better than last year's. I found it. I found all three Hell in a Cell matches to be at least passable. Unlike last year where it was like almost dog shite.
At least no WWE match ended in a no contest.
Yes, I'll give it that much, because that happened like twice in a row in like 2 years, 2 years in a row. So at least they didn't go for the hat trick this time.
It really looked like this close that the fucking Reigns Uso match was going to end no contest. It really did. Until they're like, nope, there has to be an I Quit. I'll tell you the best thing. Shall I tell you the best thing about the I Quit match before we do scores?
Yeah, go.
All right, go.
We didn't have a fucking ref screaming into the mic every 2 minutes after every fucking move saying, "Do you quit? Do you quit?"
But we did have the ref repeating the same damn thing every time.
Yeah, but it wasn't into the fucking microphone.
I like the fact that it's like, what can I do? you know, but hey.
Yeah, John, score.
Yeah, I'll go with 6. I think that's only fair.
Fair enough.
Because it gives like 2 points for each of the cell matches. So,
Kevin?
I'm gonna go for a 5. Just tying it in with the fact that, you know, I liked it a bit less than John. I quit Hell in a Cell. There was a danger for a moment of it getting really exciting and the whole thing turning into a Bret Hart brings back the Hart Foundation together moment.
There was a point where I might have actually enjoyed the match.
No. In all I meant to bring this point up earlier. I thought for a minute they were gonna do that and have it be like the Hart Foundation reunion and when Bret brought Bulldog and Owen Hart back together, and they were going to do that with these, and they were going to get it together that way, and then it was going to be a no contest. I thought at one point, but no, it was. It started off really good,
yeah,
and then it lost me. So 5.
That's fine.
But it was passable. It was, but as I say, it was the Hell in a Cell matches were passable, but they could and indeed some cases should have been better.
I enjoyed the pay-per-view as a whole, but I agree with Kev that it started strong and then went downhill. Like, there was literally no need. Like, I like the idea. I like the fact that we've had these like shorter pay-per-views of like 2.5 hours to like, you know, bridging between the 3 hours. But you know, you could have just cut out this whole Hurt Business, Retribution bollocks. Some of the matches could have been better. The camera work could have been better. Like, it feels like they just, a lot of the things that they wanted to do in the interim just weren't planned out or anything else. So I'm going to give this one Dark Order salute out of 10, which is 5 fingers. So it's a nice 5 out of 10. Join the Dark Order.
Do you have dental?
Fair dues.
Yes, actually, we do have dental.
Do you?
I need some work.
I need a dentist. Like crazy. Ugh. Right. So there we go. 2 5s from myself and the returning Mr. Pete. And Turbo, champion for now. He has a 6. He has a 6. And thank you, Pete, for reminding us of both of you for reminding us what happened with the previous Hell in the Cells. I'd kind of erased that from my memory. I almost want to retroactively downgrade that mark even more. But that's it now, isn't it? So, if you have not seen it already, check out our predictions for Full Gear, AEW Full Gear. We'll be talking more about AEW very soon, now that they've had a year. But for now, from myself, Kevin, from Pete Titan Screen Neverco, and from John Turbo Finley, we will see you very soon. Thank you very much. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to this video, or if you're listening online, do whatever it is on your platform. Bye for now.
Bye.